Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide Jason. There are many mythical beasts in mythology which lurk in the water. Some are seducers like sirens, others malicious ones which will drown you like the Kelpie. But what about one that sinks ships? I present to you the Hrossvalur. Whales are powerful creatures which humans marvel at. They are huge. Nothing on land compares to them. So what do humans do? We create monsters out of them, such as the Bakukujira in the Okklut. Yet when it comes to the island nation of Iceland, they dominate this with the Hrosshvalur, or evil whales. This includes the Raudkembingur and the Stukul. Yet today we look at the Hrossvalur, the whale horse. Yep, Iceland has a whole category of monstrous whales. It is the size of a whale, most say 15 to 40 meters, 49 to 131 feet long. Its head looks like that of a horse. It has a short neck with a red mane on the top of its head. It even has more hair on its tail, which again looks like a horse's. Across the rest of its body, there is a fine, thin layer of fur. Its eyes are unusually massive, and have gotten this creature the nickname of the monocle. It has a rancid smell, which you will not miss. Rather than make the low, melodious songs like other whales, this one neighs like a horse. There is one description which is basically pointless though. Its internal organs are said to be the same as that of a horse. And here's the issue: whales and horses already have the same internal organs. Their only difference is where the nose or blowhole is when compared to other mammals. There are a couple of mentions of it having bone spikes sticking out of its body. If these pierce another whale, that whale will suffer from a horrible infection and perish. But most tales don't mention the bone spikes. Potentially, this is the reason behind the horrible smell. This is a horrible creature which is known to capsize ships by leaping from the water to land on top of the ship. And like so many other sea monsters, it is said to create massive waves using its tail. Oh, we know why they do this. They hunger for the flesh of humans. No wonder there are tales of witches and sorcerers making them their familiars. Oh, and if all of that isn't bad enough, Iceland has actually passed a law that makes it illegal to eat this monster. I'm not kidding. It is written in Iceland's oldest law book, the Gragas. Yeah, there's a whole mess of taboos and ill fate tied with eating it. Oh, don't worry, that isn't all that easy. You see, if you happen to slay one, as soon as you chuck the meat into the pot, it vanishes. Now, they do have a few natural enemies. Another mythical beast, Skjaldungur, or the shell whale, and the chariot whale, or Hrosshvalur. This last one is usually said to be a killer whale. Okay, so we do have a bit to start with. Our first idea is trying to figure out if there is a real whale which matches its size. And yes, the blue whale falls into the same size range. So that may be what people were seeing. That means we can estimate its weight at around 100 to 150 tons, or about 14 to 21 elephants on the big end. Yeah, I can see why that would sink a ship if it lands on it. However, we can actually look into the fossil record for a bit. This is a whale which still has fur. It is believed that whales lost their fur and hair sometime between 35 and 8 million years ago, and they were believed to have evolved about 50 to 70 million years ago. It sounds like we have a living fossil here. Perhaps the bone spikes are the last remnants of its toes, or it could be something more akin to the narwhal's modified tooth horn. But we can't compare it to other mythical creatures. In fact, the idea of a horse with sea creatures is very common. Let's see, we have the seahorse Hippocampus, deadly water horses like the Kelpie and Cheval Malais. So any of those could be a potential mythological relative. Though, what is up with it vanishing when you throw their meat in a pot? There is a few options. Probably the most likely is something that would happen with animals from extreme depths. Their bodies are so dedicated to extreme pressures that when brought up to shallower waters, they will literally dissolve. Alternatively, it could be that a pot of water was boiling to make a stew, and the heat could dissolve it. Yeah, neither really works well here. But this is a mythical creature. Though it seems that it doesn't have much in terms of magical powers. They create waves using their tails. Of course, it is said to come with bad weather. Though that may just be story embellishment. Most likely, what magic they have is more of the reason that their meat was made illegal to eat. Probably a curse bound to it. But we are looking at 1,000-year-old laws regarding an obscure mythical creature. Well, if we are to combat this monster, I think we should call upon Captain Ahab for advice. We know that they are beatable. There are ship records even claim that they have done it in the 13th century and another account in the 18th century. Okay, those aren't the most reliable, but it tells us that it is possible. Sure, they did have help of other mythical whales and flung every heavy object they had on board at the well. So the first thing is, where will this fight take place? And obviously, it will be a naval battle. You'll need a sturdy boat. A metal one would likely take their attacks better than a wooden one. Its main method of attack is to lunge out of the water and attempts to come crashing down onto your boat. To do this, it'll need to build up speed. So let's prevent that. Fill the water around your ship with icebergs, barrels, nets, and other threats to force it to turn around and slow down. As for weapons, harpoons are spoken about being used and are a fine choice. You need to focus on penetration and vital spots. Now, it does have one well-documented weakness: its large eyes. Land a harpoon in that and you'll gain the advantage. Another opening is the blowhole. Clog that up and it'll struggle to remain underwater all that long. And that will be the greatest problem here. While it is underwater, you'll struggle to strike it. And that is where magic will be useful. Lightning magic will be an obvious choice. And you'll need to keep yourself safe from your own attacks. And that is where a wooden ship would be better. Ice magic is unlikely to really harm it, unless you can make spears to stab it or freeze up its blowhole. If you are strong enough, you could freeze the water and trap the well in place, or either above or below the water. Okay, that would lock your boat in place, and you can't escape. Fire magic will be good while it's on the surface, but not very effective while submerged, unless you have enough force to heat up large swaths of the ocean, but that is unlikely. There are a few utility spells I would recommend. Water walking and water breathing are almost a necessity to be sure. They will provide you with mobility and let you get off the boat, or escape it if it starts to sink. Mind you, I'm not sure I would want to go walking on the water while facing a giant monster that attacks from below while it's trying to eat you. No, that would be dangerous. Though I am curious, what happens if you cast water walking on our evil well? Would the well just be stuck flopping about like a fish on a dock? That could be a good way to beach it and makes a quick victory, wouldn't it? I'd like to test that someday. Who is with me for this crazy scheme? If it tries to bite you, you'll need heavy plate to stand a chance against its bites. A sword and spear would be nice, yet there is a problem. It is better to just not let it bite you. If it does, it can drag you underwater, and that's a loss for you. If it swallows you, you made a mistake. You'll need to do two things: make it vomit you up so you can escape, or puncture the lungs so you can breathe. Neither is a good choice, but this is a bad situation. Of course, there is one more spell that I would want, and that is flight. A nice spell to get as far away from the water as possible. If you aren't near the water, it's harmless. Just stay high and dry, and everything is fine. Yet that won't end the problem. The biggest threat, of course, would be if it is tied to a sea witch, at which point the difficulty will skyrocket. Overall, this is a fight which is more about avoiding your foe and handling its attacks. Stay at range and you should be safe. That is why I'm going to give it a 5 of 10 for difficulty. You'll need a lot of luck and planning to pull this off. If you slay it, at best, you'll get safer waters, which is nice. But we got a few issues. First up, you can't eat it. It is against the law in Iceland. Even if you do throw it in a pot, you get nothing. Well, you'll at least get the bones and blubber. Surely those won't disappear, right? Of course, there is still a taboo tied to them. So I would recommend having a cleric purify them before attempting anything with them. There is little to gain physically from its remains. but I'm sure that you can't put a price on your safety, right? The Hrossvalur is a dangerous sea monster to be sure. A predatory whale with a hankering for human flesh. One that flings itself from the ocean to sink your ship. That truly is a dangerous foe to be sure. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next time. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.